guys, dearyoongi here, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a very important one because we will be discussing a situation circling the K-pop press at the moment, which I strongly believe needs to be brought to everybody's attention where possible. We are going to be discussing the current situation regarding K-pop boy group Omega X speaking out against the mistreatment they've been receiving during their time at their company. I won't make this introduction too long, as I would really like us to get into discussing the situation in as much detail as we can if we're going to help the group raise awareness to their hardships. But I think for this video it is important for me to just place a few trigger warnings here for themes we will be mentioning throughout the video. These include mentions of abuse, both verbal and physical, sexual assault and suicide, to name a few. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. First of all, we will start by introducing Omega X. Omega X are an 11-member boy group who debuted in June 2021 under Spire Entertainment. Their name is said to represent the unknown and its infinite possibilities, and is sometimes also stylized as OX. They debuted with their first mini-album and title track of the same name, Vamos, and although their career as a group has only been short thus far, none of the members are actually new to the industry. Omega X are kind of known as like a second chance group, if you will, as all of the members were previously members of other K-pop groups who have now either disbanded or are inactive, such as 7 O'Clock and Snooper. Some of the members have also competed in survival shows, that sort of thing. All 11 of them are extremely talented and have had a very successful time together so far in like the year and a half-ish since their debut. At the time of me making this video, they have around 170,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and some of their title tracks have as many as 1 million to 3 million streams on Spotify. Forbes magazine featured Omega X in a January 2022 article, applauding them for their second EP, Love Me Like, being the second best-selling album in Korea that week, coming second only to none other than Kepler, whose debut we all know was extremely highly anticipated. This year, the group also completed their Latin and North America tours, and many fans, myself included, were eagerly awaiting and anticipating more worldwide tour dates. So from what we could see on the outside looking in, things were looking great for this group, and their futures seem really bright. These 11 talented individuals were finally getting their second chance at a career in the industry, until the 23rd of October 2022. On this date, a fan posted an audio to Twitter in which a female voice could be heard verbally shouting abuse at a group of guys. The tweet from the netizen says, "Guys, I was waiting outside for an Uber Eats that I ordered and I saw the company CEO hitting the members. I really don't know what to do since I was shaking so much. They were being hit right in front of me, but I couldn't do anything." You guessed it, the tweet is referring to Omega X. I will not be sharing the physical audio in the video. I think that will be far too harrowing, and I'm struggling to even talk about it, but some of the script of the video is as follows. CEO says, "What have you guys done for me? Did you take care of me when I was having a hard time? Who do you think you are?" One of the members mentions how another member is going to faint. The CEO says, "I've already fainted before." In the audio you can hear somebody then falling down, the CEO yelling at them to get up, the members clamoring and yelling, "What are you doing?" and the sound of more thudding and crying. You can imagine what is happening here. Of course, the reaction to this audio on social media was absolute outrage, and people demanded a response from the company, to which they said they were going to confirm as soon as possible, but they were having difficulty doing so because the group was still in the US. They had just literally finished their tour. This also brought fans' attention to a clip which had been recorded at one of their shows on social media. A fan captured the moment where one of the members made a cryptic statement on stage regarding mistreatment, telling their fans that if they're ever in a situation where they're being cursed at or suffering, to make sure they tell somebody.
I wanna tell you something. If you get hurt in your life, get cursed at by someone, tell somebody. Please tell somebody. If you handle it alone, it will eat you up. It will stay in your head.
Just to note, this seemed to be before any of the allegations of this video even surfaced, which just shows the members had had enough and were ready to speak out regarding their situation. And now people had begun putting the puzzle pieces together, quickly. The eventual statement from Spire Entertainment apologized for any concerns caused by the recent news, and explains that the conversation took place as they discussed all the hard work which went into the tour, as well as their futures. They then said the conversation took a turn to certain disappointing moments, which is when things got a little bit heated and voices were raised. The company assured fans that the company and members had resolved any issues and hard feelings, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see right through that statement, and it did not take Spire long to expose themselves. The conversation we just discussed seemed to take place on the 22nd of October, and the group were due to fly home to Korea on the following day, the 23rd. However, following all the fallout online, the group soon discovered that their flights for the return home to Korea were cancelled. In the early morning of the the same day of the flights. However, their production staff were still able to board. This therefore left the group stranded in Los Angeles. Of course, the company had an excuse for this too, and said it was to avoid the members having to sit with fans on the plane, and it had actually been in discussion for days. They said it was nothing to do with the recent allegations, and they didn't leave them behind on purpose. This statement also revealed quite a lot more information regarding the recording we'd heard, including the name of the CEO yelling at them, Kang Song-hee, who confirmed the voice in the video was in fact her, but it was spread by an anti-fan who had hostility towards management. She went on to rant about how exhausted she was that day of the argument because she'd been up for several nights and the members didn't even think to make her feel better, so she acted out of disappointment. Yeah, I really wish I was kidding, but that's what she said. As with any story like this, it's thanks to one whistleblower that leads to more feeling comfortable enough to do so. So more attention started to draw towards netizens who had already spoken out about the mistreatment of Omega X previously, as recently as earlier in the same month. One netizen had spoken out about a situation her mother witnessed while the group were at a hotel in Chile. I'll put her tweets on screen so you can see them, but to summarise, her mother overheard two members of the group being yelled at by a woman at breakfast, and she then witnessed the same thing happening to them at the airport. They were yelled at in front of a large group of people while waiting for their flights. It also didn't take long before a further witness of the original confrontation in LA came forward with video evidence to back up the original poster, which proved exactly what Omega X had gone through that night, and it wasn't just a simple argument about working hard. I will not be showing the video. Again, I'm not here to spread physical images of their abuse, I'm here to explain their situation. But this video shows one of the members, Jae-han, sitting down, seemingly having a panic attack, while the CEO continues to berate him and mock him, laughing about him dying of exhaustion and faking being unwell. She's dragging him to stand up while the members try to defend him. This fills in the gaps we had earlier in the audio file, as we now know who the member is who they mentioned was about to pass out, so it seems. We'll jump back now to the situation with the group being stranded in LA. It was reported that after cancelling the flights, CEO Kang still managed to cause a commotion in the hallway of the group's hotel by knocking on the members' rooms, leaving the hotel security to actually contact the police. It was later revealed that this actually happened twice. In the end, the group ended up having to purchase their own plane tickets back to Korea, either using their own money or with help from their parents just to get back safely, which thankfully they did. And back in Korea is where the rest of the timeline will unfold. The group had been put on one of their social media bans. The company usually did this to them whenever a member perhaps said too much that could hint at what was going on behind the scenes. But unbeknownst to Spire Entertainment, Omega X are not just talented, they're also intelligent. One of their members, Sebin, who is a member of currently inactive group Snooper, also found a way around the group's social media ban. He posted a selfie to Snooper's Twitter account as a sort of way to inform fans they were currently doing okay, which, considering we were getting radio silence otherwise regarding the group's current state and future from the company, was very exciting. And what a smart move from him. When the company finally spoke out again, it wasn't anything better. Instead, they cancelled the group's upcoming schedules and weren't saying much else, as if expecting this to all blow over. In the meantime, further abuse allegations against the company also started to come to light, this time from a Chilean translator who was working with the group during their tour for very little money already. The statement on her behalf mentions how the Korean staff, especially the CEO, were verbally abusive towards her as well as xenophobic. I know we already have more than enough evidence against this company, but this was like another nail in their coffin. Fast forward a little bit to the 5th of November 2022, and while fans are extremely worried for the future of Omega X, considering their future activities have all been suspended, the members took matters into their own hands. Omega X decided to create their own Instagram, separate to the one they have with the company, in order to keep fans updated on their situation and assure the fandom for X that they're keeping okay. This entirely went against their contract, and they knew that and clarified as such, but they felt it was important to do so for the sake of their future as a group, while promising fans that the 11 of them were going to try and do everything they could to stay together. Floods and floods of support came in for them. Thank you so much to everybody who did. 2 days later, on the 7th of November, we finally hear of the voluntary resignation of the CEO. It turned out later that the actual company CEO of Spire Entertainment was not Kang Song-hee, but in fact her husband, Hwang Song-woo, who was previously believed to be the chairman. But regardless of position, it is said abuser herself who was the first to step down. Of course, her resignation came with another empty apology from the company that none of us cared for. At this point, Omega X now had a legal representative team who confirmed that they were to hold a press conference on the 16th of November to speak out directly themselves concerning the scandal. In the meantime, more and more evidence of their mistreatment had come to light, such as the members being forced to perform even when they had COVID-19. And Omega X themselves had actually applied for all Omega X name-related trademarks. It's very obvious at this point that the group's aim was to move forward together, but the only way to do so was to get out of their contract with Spire Entertainment. There's no other way. But in doing so, Spire would technically still own Omega X. So hopefully through their application, they will be able to retrieve back what is theirs. Throughout this whole situation and during the build-up to Omega X's press conference, many friends, family, and fellow stars had spoken out in support of the group. But most notably, fellow K-pop boy group Just Be actually postponed their comeback showcase, which was going to be on the same day as Omega X's press conference. Their company confirmed this was so all press could be present at the press conference instead of the showcase, so more attention and airtime could go to this cause. Fans were also very quick to note that the two groups actually debuted on the same day, and Just Be member Do-young and Omega X's Ye-chan were also both previously in the same group, Won the Nine, after successfully competing on a survival show together. So although Just Be's company made this decision from the media point of view, it's very clear to see how much this would have meant to Just Be too, to be able to show solidarity and support for their peers while going through such a struggle. Before the press conference, we weren't quite sure as of yet what the group were going to be asking for, aside from of course the termination of their contracts and the trademarks we've already mentioned previously. But it was soon confirmed that the group were aiming to formally press charges against their old CEO. Fans were already 100% behind their decision to do so, and were awaiting the press conference to hear their full side of the story. But as the group revealed even more of their struggles prior to the press conference, the extent of their hardships somehow got even worse than we could have imagined. The group's legal team also revealed that they were sexually harassed and assaulted during their time at Spire Entertainment, and they had evidence which would confirm as such. Now their decision to press charges was not only just their best option, but the only option. Let's move on to actually discussing the press conference on the 16th of November, which really brought to light even more of the sufferings the group had to go through behind the scenes. All of the members were present at said conference, but not all of them had to speak because fortunately, they were being represented by a strong legal team. No Jong-eun, legal advisor of KBC, and So Ju-yeon, member of the Korean Society of Korean Entertainment Law. I'm going to simply explain some of the things mentioned during their press conference so you guys also have the same information and we're all clear on exactly what the group had to go through. Omega X member and leader Jaehan stated that the reason they put up with everything they had done until now was because they felt this was each of theirs last chance, and it would be gone. They were all debuting for a second time and didn't want to waste any time, so they thought they would just push through for the fans instead. He mentioned how some of the members had been suffering from anxiety, and some were even receiving medical treatment for it. He then went on to say my favourite statement, "We all want to be respected as people, not products." This one statement alone is exactly what everything here boils back to. Member Ye-chan explained how the former CEO negatively influenced their lives and took valuable practice time away to make them talk with her instead, or made them wait up late just to do so. He revealed that on the night of the abuse video, the members tried to hide away in their hotel and even requested the hotel to separate them from the company so they could protect themselves until they left the country. Further to this, member Hang-yeom also revealed how they had to put up with her calling them at any hours during the day, and they put up with it because they were so terrified of greeting fans with disbandment news. But now this means that whenever their phones ring or vibrate, they still get that same fear and anxiety. Hang-yeom also recalled a time he told the CEO when he went to hospital that her behavior was literally making it hard for him to breathe, and the reason he could not perform at the Mexico City stop of their tour was due to being unable to breathe after a panic attack. The CEO mocked him for this, laughing about articles coming out saying he'd quit the band due to anxiety disorders, which is something we all know has been a serious issue in K-pop for quite some time now. And all of this is not all. He also revealed that abuse happened at his previous company too. He wasn't beaten in particular, but his group mates were. For reference, Hang-yeom was previously a member of the group 7 O'Clock under Spire Entertainment and KDH Entertainment. Member Sebin revealed how the CEO would force them to drink by promising gifts if they did and threatening to take their next album away from them if they didn't get drunk. Jaehan also backed this up by saying they were forced to drink and were sexually harassed by the CEO, who would make either sexual remarks at them or touch their thighs and faces. It got to the point where if the older members were asked to go out for drinks, other members would try and tag along with them just to help them deal with the situation as best they could, by trying to laugh about it as their only way to get through this thing they knew they had to do. Jaehan also revealed how their CEO would threaten them and say they should grovel if they wanted to remain as Omega X, or she would either kill them or kill herself if they didn't. Jaehan explained also about how they opened up their Instagram account to update fans during the lawsuit, and broke down into tears, unable to continue speaking while doing so. He wasn't the only member who got physically upset. Unfortunately, Taedong did also after his remarks in the press conference, where he mentioned that he believes many other K-pop trainees will also be experiencing similar issues to them. He went on to explain how he had to train for 15 to 17 hours every day at his old agency with no days off, how they took his phone away demanding his passcode, and would force verbal and physical assault upon him there too. Taedong used to be a member of the group Gi-dong-dae under 2Y Entertainment. Member Jung-hoon also explained that they never even got so much as an apology after the incident in LA. Instead, the CEO just brought up their military duties and threatened them with falsified statements of accounts, making it impossible for them to speak up. Their legal representatives explained that this falsified statement of accounts meant Spire Entertainment alleged that each member owed the label up to 400 million won in debt, which is over $300,000. The group promised fans they were going to fight this together, all 11 of them. After everything they've been through together, they would not be giving up now and wanted to get back up together. They now finally believed they deserved to be loved and they deserve better than this, and they wanted their fans to believe the same. To summarise the end of the press conference and the members expressing their difficulties, their legal team went on to say the members will be pressing charges against the former CEO for threatening, assaulting and exploiting the Omega X members. But first of all, the nullifying of their contracts needs to take place, so they have therefore filed for the seizure of their contracts. Later, they would also be demanding compensation. They hope the group's courage rings alarm bells to the wrongs ailing their society and help others overcome mistreatment too. I unfortunately cannot conclude this video with the result of the lawsuit as of yet, because at the time of me making this video, the press conference is still very fresh news. It's still early days and these things can take a great deal of time. So all we can do at the moment is keep supporting them and their fight as best we can. I'm confident that with a strong legal team, the strength of each other, and a strong support base around the world from not just fans of K-pop but from everyone, that Omega X can and will get through this. I completely understand that I've just hit you with a lot of harrowing information, but I think it was extremely important to do so for the main content of this video. Words physically cannot express how proud I am of Omega X for having the strength and courage to come forward about the years of abuse they have been suffering. None of us can even imagine how difficult that must have been for them, with their careers looming over their head and their dreams literally crumbling away in front of them. I personally believe that CEO Kang took advantage of both her position of power and authority, but also the group's vulnerability, and she used it to her own sick advantage. Because she could. She knew the group were all on their second chance within the industry, and she knew how much this meant to all of them. So she took every opportunity to hold that against them to get whatever she wanted from them. The way she treated Omega X is a way which no human should have to suffer, regardless of if you're a K-pop idol or a normal person walking down the street. And what makes this whole ordeal somehow even worse is, like two of the members stated, this will not be the only company this happens in. They are physical evidence of that, because they've both experienced it in other companies. There will be more young people living under absolute sick conditions, just with the small hope of keeping their dreams alive. We all know the K-pop industry is a harsh one. There is a lot of expectations on K-pop idols, but I don't think any of us quite know the severity or to what extent idols and trainees have to put up with. It is inhumane. What Omega X have done here by courageously speaking out and putting their entire careers on the line is not only an act of immense bravery on their part, but also I think what could be the very beginning of a lot of trainees and idols, either past or present, feeling comfortable enough to speak up about their own hardships within the industry on a greater scale than we have seen thus far. There is a huge potential for change and progress to come from what Omega X have been strong enough to do by fighting their battles so publicly, and I commend them so much for doing so. The main purpose of me creating this video is simply because I want to help. The 11 of them have taken such a big step by coming forward about their abuse. I feel like at the very least, as a fan, it's my job to keep the conversation alive in rooms where they are not present. And I think we can all do the same. Please share their story and keep the conversation going. Make others aware that yes, this group has gone through hell, but hopefully their strength will be the very beginning of change. Omega X have taken a massive leap. It is now up to us to give them a support platform to land upon. I think that's just about everything for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching if you got this far, I really appreciate it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and please share your thoughts on the situation in the comments. Like I said, let's keep this one alive. If you're new here and haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. I'm not sure if you guys want me to do like an update video on this one once we know more. Please let me know if you'd like to see that. And usually if you have been here before, you will know that I put my social medias on screen at the end of my videos. We're not doing that today. On screen, you will see Omega X's Instagram if you would like to give them a follow. This is the one we mentioned throughout the video. It's the account that they have opened to keep fans updated. If you would like to go and give them your support, please do so. I know that it would mean the world to them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!